Hi there, everybody. Hugh here again. Good to be with you. I'm going to do a little more reading from some writing I did back in Leavenworth Federal Prison while I was an inmate there between 2009 and 2011. So, folks seem to be enjoying some of this stuff, this kind of unedited writing I did. I would write notes in my little address book I got from the commissary. I got a bunch of them. They were very small, fit in your pocket. And then in the evenings, I would go into the library and type on the typewriters there quite often. And people thought I was a lawyer at a certain point, and they would ask me legal questions. I would assure them I was not a lawyer, but then I did wind up writing a number of letters for some different people. And also, I've been doing some of these here over the last few days. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and all the new subscribers checking things out. Yesterday, I put out a new song. I'll be doing some of that and maybe doing some more off the cuff, from the heart uh, stuff here in the coming days. I do want to address, I did get a comment a few days ago. Somebody said, he can't look us in the eye because he's reading all of this. Why can't he just speak from his heart? Now, it's a fine comment, and I really appreciate the viewer chiming in on the comment and checking out the stuff in order to write that. But I do want to assure I am on these videos here. I am definitely reading, and I'm reading from the writing I did back then, and it's been unedited since 2011. And also, what I'm going to be talking about here is the first day working in the prison kitchen. I was assigned to vegetable prep and had to go down into the kitchen every morning at 4:30, and I did not enjoy that job overall. It was a bit stressful for a number of reasons, but so this is the very first day there. This is after the being assigned the jobs, and I'm going to work in the kitchen. And Kitty is not happy about how cold it still is here, even though we're about to get some nicer temperatures here in Southern Illinois here in the coming days. Okay, so and a reminder, I've changed names uh, of all the people involved, including myself. I go by the name of Benjamin Hughes in these writings here. So here we go. Gouge from the side and poke from the bottom. It's just like you're knocking somebody's eyeball out. Manuel was number one in vegetable prep, and he demonstrated his violent method for destemming green peppers. He looked Hispanic, and that assumption turned out to be partially correct, though to hear him say it, he was half honky. I guessed him to be in his late 30s. His skinny stature matched his skinny beard, a popular style demanding daily attention. While my beard sprouted like wild garden weeds, Manuel's was trimmed with meticulous consideration. Like every Texan I've ever met, Manuel was quick to boast that he was from the Lone Star State. I'd slept poorly, hearing the snoring, farting, tossing, turning, squeaking, shaking, itching, rubbing, toing, and froing of all the other inmates in the dorm unit all night long, and from showing up to the kitchen at 4:30 a.m. I met a Mr. Franz, the food steward, or kitchen cop, as he was known, and he said, "Don't cut off your fucking fingers on my shift." He bolted two bread knives to a couple of steel cables attached to a stainless steel table where most of the mutilation took place. Jabba the Hutt without the warmth or charisma. He carried the distinct odor of booze and barf on his breath. The cramped and dingy kitchen was similar in shape and size to a single wide mobile home with a perpendicular extension for the 12-foot dishwasher, where hundreds of plastic trays were cleaned, or at least the stubborn bits that clung to the sides were sanitized. The tables, sinks, and the cauldrons were all stainless steel. The yellow walls were white once upon a time, as evidenced by the tiny space behind the sinks. There were dangerous and barely avoidable holes in the floor filled with gray water, and the surface was perpetually wet, not necessarily negating the 5-second rule for dropped utensils, food, or fingers. Our table was tucked behind a corner and gave us a small bit of privacy. You know you're in the country's only maximum security prison camp, right? Manuel held the bread knife and jerked the steel cable taut. I've been locked up 10 years and I just got a few months to go. That fat fuck thinks I'm going to stick somebody. I shrugged and shook my head. We finished the peppers and started chopping on the meanest, strongest onions I've ever smelled. Their fragrance was painful and ricocheted from yellow wall to wet floor, filling the tiny kitchen with a potent tear gas. The dishwashers wept, the cooks coughed, and even those lounging off in the chow hall gagged and choked. I wiped my cheeks on my shirt sleeve. They're stronger than mace. Ha ha! Your woman ever blast you with pepper spray? No. Ha ha! Well, these here are prison onions, my man. Mean as hell, and they'll make you cry. Ha! Do you have a woman at home? Yeah, at least I think so. Hope so. You married? No. Got kids with her? No kids. Not with her or anybody else. I mean, none that I'm aware of, you know. Then you don't have a woman back home, my man. Not no more, you don't. No offense, just the way it goes. Is that so? Manuel smirked and stared at me as we peeled and mangled the deadly onions, waiting for me to say something else, which I didn't. Before the moment became too awkward, a wet-faced cook wandered over to our corner behind the wall and snatched a handful of unpeeled onions and unpunctured peppers, wiping the tears from his cheeks. Hoo-ee! Strong some bitches there, eh, bud? He gave Manuel some postage stamps and headed back to the other side of the room. Manuel put the stamps in his pocket and went back to chopping. So why are you here, my man? Oh, this is just where they assigned me, in orientation. He set his knife on the table and stared at me. Oh, you mean why am I in prison? Mail fraud. Whose mail you steal? I didn't steal any mail. Just like I had with Ralph in the hole, I gave Manuel the ambiguous version of my tale, vague and full of confusing anecdotes. Once I was finished, he said, Oh, so you are a thief, then? No, I am not a thief, then. In fact, some folks think I am a victim myself. Ha! Do they now? You know, that's what all the white collars say. Don't get me wrong, my man. I ain't judging. You done been judged. Now you're just doing your time. I was just curious. Don't get your blood pressure up over it. He gave me that smirk, waiting for my reaction. Okay. Manuel liked confrontation, no doubt about that. Up front and center with his opinion, no matter how misguided. Most people in this life, at least that I knew, weren't that way. I knew I wasn't like that, especially when I listened to myself speak. So, Manuel, what caused you to get spit it out, homeboy? You trying to ask me why I'm in prison? He cocked his head at me. Yeah, why are you in prison? If you don't mind telling. I sold a lot of drugs and made a lot of money doing it. I'd do it again the minute I step out of this motherfucker, but I know I'd get caught, and I know they'd put me away for good next time. This ain't my first rodeo. You feel me, dog? I'd like to get to know my grandbabies, and not just from a visiting room, you know? A grandfather? You seem too young. I'll be 53 on my next birthday. No, that's not right. I'm already 53. I'll be 54 next month. Pisces. Some claim prison preserves a person, slowing down the aging process. Manuel represented the theory quite well. Far better than I did, anyhow. How about you, my man? How old are you? I just turned 32 while I was in the hole last week. Bullshit. You ain't no 32. I'm serious. I've always looked older my whole life. With all that gray, you look 42. Hell, you could pass for 52. No offense. Your birthday was just last week? I nodded. You're a Scorpio, then. Manuel pulled a pillowcase out of his pocket and started filling it with peppers and onions. That's right. Scorpio's major trait is that he doesn't believe in astrology. And you ain't here on no dope. No drugs, just stress. You might say I stared into an abyss and saw an abyss. You might this or you might that, but you're the oldest 32-year-old motherfucker I ever laid eyes on. Where's the police? Come again? Manuel threw the bag of vegetables over his shoulder. Where's Franz? In the office? Bubble? On the shitter? I stepped around the corner to get a view of the bubble across the chow hall. Franz was talking to Minsky and another guard in the bubble. He's in the bubble. I got some deliveries to make. Cover for me if Sasquatch comes back here. Manuel left the kitchen through the back door with his loaded pillowcase, and I peeled the rest of the onions, thinking about what to say if I had to cover for him. Another test of my criminal wherewithal, no doubt. Possible answers rambled through my head. Laundry, sir. He's in the laundry room. The restroom, rather. The shitter, sir. Manuel is taking a shit. The old standby. Manuel who? I wasn't comfortable with the position, and sure enough, a few minutes passed. Then at first I heard them at a distance. The sleigh bells grew louder. Franz and his jingling keys were getting closer and closer, and I sweated harder and harder, and finally he turned the corner. Franz's mastodon frame was upon me, Cro-Magnon countenance crumpled in confusion, and he grumbled. Where the fuck is Tweedle Gay? Hey, big boss man, ain't you got nothing better to do than harass my understudy? Manuel returned just in time to interrupt, winking at me. Franz waddled away, mumbling. Manuel handed me a few stamps. I don't have no help on the outside. I gotta hustle just to make it in here. Where I came from, the rural Midwest, hustle meant to hurry. In urban areas and in prison, it meant making money however you had to. Guys like to do their own cooking, especially on the weekends. I hook 'em up with onions, peppers, sometimes other shit when I can get it. They pay you, I suppose? Onions are one stamp, peppers are two. It's just a little silver lining on this bit of indentured servitude. It was at least the second time I'd heard that phrase since arriving. Manuel watched me count the handful of stamps he gave me. I don't need to worry about you interfering in my operation, do I? Nope. Books of stamps could be purchased from the commissary, the prison store, for $8.80. Manuel sold them for 60 cents and Manuel sold them for $6 in trade, or more often, actual money sent to an outside account in his wife's name. I'm getting out in just a few months. Almost got enough to buy a new house. No kidding. I've been doing this a long time, my man. Manuel swept the onion peels into the garbage can. That's a lot of onions. Lots of rotten shit to be slinging these last 10 years. Rotten foods for rotten dudes. You said it, my man. We scooped the rest of the slimy mess for a few minutes. Or rotten goods for rotten hoods. Mr. Shakespeare here. Dr. Seuss, maybe. In the summer, you can be rotten melons for rotten felons. You should be a writer, my man. Alan Cole wheeled an awkward yellow mop over to us and said, Hey, fellas, I guess it's my turn now. What's up? Manuel and Alan introduced themselves, and Alan said, They told me I could either clean the dishes or clean the floors and whatnot. Manuel spoke in his exaggerated accent. Oh, you don't want to do that, my friend. That a woman's work. Ha, ha, ha. All right, so that was the first day in the kitchen. Some of this stuff is interesting. I wrote it 15 or so years ago, and a little bit of it actually kind of makes me feel a little awkward. That if I was writing this now, I guess like in a recollection, I don't know, maybe I would do it completely accurately. I guess that's right. There's stuff in this, you know, I guess in that last passage there was a little brief um, ethnic slurs, or I suppose, but not the obviously the ones that are the worst ones. But I think in some of this, I haven't gone over this in so long. I think I wrote accurately, um, some of the words that people said, and you know, they're words that somebody like me in 2026 kind of feels awkward about saying, even if it was, you know, accurate and authentic. But I don't know. So that's been a kind of interesting thing, you know, in some of this. But I really appreciate you tuning in. And if you enjoy this, please let me know, and please consider subscribing. And there's more to come, and not just some old writing, but some more updated new stuff. This is all just the raw, from back when, and it's kind of wild to rediscover it. In fact, when I'm reading through this stuff, these various locations, they are burned into my mind. I'm transported right back there, and that's fine. It's not something traumatic to me. It's as time passes, you know, uh, I don't think time heals all wounds, but it makes them more manageable, and it just becomes a thing. It becomes not where your life went wrong, or how it was supposed to be and it went completely sideways, as much as that's what happened, that's your story. And so this is the stuff that happened, and so far uh we haven't found John Teeter yet to come and bring time travel to reality, so we can't really go back in time. But what we can do is kind of process our past, and you know just accept that this is what has led us to here. And you know uh, I have a better perspective of things. I don't feel like I'm living a bad life. Sure, everybody's could have gone a lot of different ways, but overall I'm a pretty happy person, a pretty good outlook uh, about things. you know uh, Obviously the news is full of wild stuff, for sure. We live in interesting times, and sometimes I can't help but wonder if some of the times that we're living in, we they are exacerbated by the free flow of information that comes every second into our handheld devices. And it's really easy to just be tuned into more than maybe human brains are supposed to be able to process, because now the technology and the robots are involved, and they're feeding it to us as if we are robots, and we're not. We're human beings. So anyway, that's a lot of good fun rambling. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and I look forward to talking to you some more again soon. Thanks.